Hey everybody, it's John Corelli, your average guy, with episode 22 of his Average Guy Opinions. I want to talk about comedy a little bit and how I got to get into comedy, why I love it so much, and some difficulties and drama that can come within the realm of doing comedy. Early on, real early, right after my parents were divorced when I was 7 or 8 years old, I would go to my father's house for every other weekend, and he would get out George Carlin, Richard Pryor, pretty inappropriate stuff for a 8, 9, 10-year old to listen to. But I started falling in love with comedy thanks to my dad and thanks to listening to those vinyl records with two of the most prolific, iconic comedians in history. And and as I grew up, in my teens, Eddie Murphy, Sam Kinison, Billy Crystal, and I just respected what they could do, and I wanted to make people laugh. And I was never a clown type, but I could be somewhat witty sometimes. I could say something so fairly original that might be humorous or might fly over everyone's head. I'm really blown away. I'm not a super smart guy, but I often say things that I know there's a funny element to it, and nobody in the room gets it. And I'm just like, all right. Sometimes I feel like Matthew Perry from Friends. He actually used to say that a lot. He's like, he'll throw out ten things he thinks are funny, and like four of them will hit, and for most of the room, and then only one out of those 10 will hit for everybody. And it feels like that when you're doing comedy, and it's quite a learning process. That's the fun part of it. You get to learn stuff. You get to learn how to read crowds. You get to learn how to tell jokes. You get to learn a lot of things. And I really like producing shows. I host and produce my own shows. Right now, here we are. It's January 22nd, 23rd. And we're doing shows every week at the Mercury Cafe, which I love doing. I pay for the shows out of my pocket, and I sell tickets on Eventbrite, and I usually lately I've been recouping the money. I don't care about the money. I mean, as long as I'm not getting crushed financially by it, I'll keep doing it. And then we do benefit shows, which is great because the owner of the Mercury Cafe is great. Her name's Marilyn. She's awesome. And so we do benefit shows, and whatever cash we bring in per night, I just give to her at the end of the night on a Friday night, and she gives it to the charity. And we had a lot of fun. We did some Black Lives Matter shows in June and July. We did in September and October. We did shows for the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. We've been doing shows for Planned Parenthood, and on the 29th we'll do our last one of those, and we'll start doing some for climate change. And big deal on the 12th. I'm not trying to turn this into an advertisement. I'm just kind of rambling about shows, but I work with who could is one of the best cerebral palsy comedians and just comedians in general that I know. I mean, he just worked with Chappelle last month, and his name's Chris Fonseca, and he has a charity called Kyler's Kicks, which is this kid. It's really tragic and triumphant at the same time. This kid was 11 and he got shot over a pair of shoes. Luckily, he recovered, and now he uses this charity to get kids shoes, and so we don't have to be shooting each other with shoes, especially in the good old U.S. of A. So I'm proud to be hosting that benefit. That'll be a lot of fun in a few weeks. Um, I didn't start doing comedy till I was 41. I think, for one thing, when I was coming up in Denver in the 80s and 90s, there weren't a lot of open mics. Comedy Works was around, but I had no idea how to do any of that stuff. But I had people tell me, hey, you're pretty funny, like in social situations. My parents especially were like, I was always the one cracking the jokes at family situations. And so people are like, you should really give this a try. Finally, in 2009, age 41, finally got on stage. Comedy Works. I didn't even know about open mics back then, even though there were tons around. I was just too into like raising my family. Logan was 4. Dante was, let's see, 11, I think. Yeah, or about to turn 12. No, he's about to turn 11. Anyway, blah blah blah. But my kids were 10 and 4, and I I got up on stage at Comedy Works the first time. You do a 2 minute set. Um, it was not very good. Probably my best material is about Yoda having sex with my mother, so that pretty much tells you how that went. And I didn't do it very often. Then I got divorced, and then I had needed something to kind of take the pain of the divorce away. And I started hitting comedy pretty hard, like in 2013, 2014. And then my girlfriend at the time, she said, "You should really just get your own mic. You should host an open mic. You can do your own material, treat it as an open mic, not have to sit around all night. You still get to host in between, and it makes a better use of your time." And I was like, you know what? You're actually right. So I ended up hosting an open mic at Mead Street Station, which is in the Highlands here in Denver. Didn't last very long, about 6 months. Uh, there's so many X factors that can make or break an open mic. Um, Ownership, the ownership of the bar or the restaurant or wherever you're doing the open mic is key. At Beat Street Station, he was not very cooperative. He would often be the loudest guy in the bar when we're trying to tell jokes, and I'm like, eventually I was just like, okay, this isn't working. And the following year, I got into another bar called Bar Red. That one kind of fell into my lap. They I showed up there for an open mic, and the person didn't show up. Or the person was fired. I think it was like a bartender that was supposed to run the open mic at this bar, and they're like, "Do you want to try?" And I was like, "Sure." And so myself and a comic slash friend called named Joe Essler, who's a nice guy. We kind of tried to do like a dual mic thing. Got some showcases in there. Did okay for 6 8 months. I don't even think that lasted a year. My friend Tim Coleman ran it for a while, and then that fell through too. And so I've been dabbling, a couple of years, 15, 16, or 17, few years passed by. Still dabbling in comedy, still trying to hit mics. And then in 2018, my friend Dick Black and I would host a place called The Living Room, which was also supported by Adam Walker. That was on Broadway, and that was going pretty well for a few shows, a few months. And we, um, all of a sudden, the lease falls through on this place. The Living Room was a really kind of cool, hip, like bar, but more of a restaurant feel. It was a nice place, but somehow they lost the lease, and literally had a show, and the place shut down like on a Thursday, and we are supposed to do a Saturday show. And I'm like, holy shit. So I went to the Mercury Cafe and asked Marilyn if she could help me out. She was able to help me out. And then she let me do an open mic there for a while, and with some showcases, trickled, sprinkled in. And then now we do a showcase every week for now. I mean, we're in the big room upstairs, which is great. We do okay. I mean, it's not packed, but it's not dead either, so it's nice. And actually, it can't be packed anyway because of social distancing. So a lot of fun. I get some good comics. I get a lot of great comics. I think that because Denver's a really good scene right now, so that's cool. I mean, I try to stay out of the drama. I'm too old for it, so that's a nice thing about being in this. I'm gonna call it, for me, it's more of a hobby than a business, but being in this entertainment realm, I guess you can call it, is I love it. You look at me. I was gonna say it keeps me young. It's not keeping me young. I'm not young looking or young feeling, but it is a fun thing to do. It's a good midlife crisis. It's better than getting, a convertible or a trophy wife, neither of which I want or can get, actually. So comedy is a fun thing to do. I don't always do it well. Last night was Friday the 22nd, and I did not host well at all. Luckily, I had four good comics, and they all did great. So that always helps when you don't host well. Hopefully next week I'll host better. But it's been nice talking to you guys about comedy. Just that was my little journey, and I love it, and I hope to continue this journey for a long, long time, especially at the Mercury Cafe, because it's a beautiful community. It's a very hippie, nice, sweet, positive environment, and I love being part of it. So there you go. That was my little journey of comedy for the last 12 years. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks for listening to episode 22 of Average Guy Opinion. See you next time.